fear. It has ruled humanity for centuries, silently, invisibly, but completely. People may appear strong, confident, successful, but beneath the surface, almost everyone is trembling. Trembling about tomorrow, about loss, about death, about what others think, about being alone. The world is not suffering because of war or poverty. The world is suffering because of fear. Fear creates all wars. Fear creates greed. Fear creates the desperate need to control, to dominate, to be somebody. If you look closely, you will see that your whole life has been designed around avoiding fear. You choose security instead of adventure. You follow the crowd instead of your own heart. You settle for comfort instead of truth. And yet, the more you run from fear, the stronger it becomes. Fear grows in darkness. It feeds on avoidance. But the moment you bring awareness to it, the moment you face it, it begins to dissolve. Fear cannot exist in the light of understanding. You cannot destroy fear through courage. You can only destroy it through clarity. Courage is just fear pretending to be strong. But clarity, silence, awareness, they dissolve fear completely. When you understand that fear is just thought, just imagination projected into the future, you laugh because the future does not exist. It is only a story your mind tells to keep itself busy. You are afraid of something that is not real. Can you see how absurd that is? Fear is not the enemy. Fear is a signal, a messenger. It tells you where you are not free. Every fear is a doorway. If you open it, it will lead you deeper into yourself. If you close it, it will trap you. The difference between a coward and a master is not that one has no fear. It is that the master walks through it. The coward resists fear. The master allows it. The coward says, I must get rid of this. The master says, let me understand this. And in that understanding, fear disappears. Because understanding is love. Have you noticed when you are in love, you are fearless. You are not thinking about the future, the result, the loss. You are simply alive, burning like a flame. Love is not the opposite of fear. Love is the death of fear. You can meditate for years, you can chant, pray, read. But if you have not loved deeply, you will never know what fearlessness is. Most people call themselves spiritual, but their spirituality is nothing but another form of fear. They believe in God because they are afraid of being alone. They meditate because they are afraid of suffering. They follow religions because they are afraid of truth. Their faith is not trust, it is protection. But real spirituality begins only when you are ready to drop protection. When you stop seeking safety and start seeking truth. When you stop asking, how can I be secure? And start asking, what is real? Then, slowly, the fog of fear begins to lift. And what remains is clarity. A simple, quiet presence. That presence is freedom. When you stop fearing pain, pain loses its power. When you stop fearing death, death becomes just another moment in eternity. Fear can only live where there is division, when you are separate from life, separate from others, separate from existence. You will always be afraid. But the moment you feel oneness, the moment you realize that you and the universe are not two, what is there to fear? Who is there to protect? From whom? People talk about conquering fear. But who will conquer it? The same mind that created fear? It is like the thief pretending to be the police. You don't conquer fear. You outgrow it. You rise above it by becoming more conscious. Fear lives in the unconscious. It cannot survive awareness. Awareness is the fire that burns fear to ashes. So when fear comes, don't fight it. Welcome it. Say, come in. Show me what you have to say. And just watch. In that watching, the energy of fear will change. It will no longer be a dark cloud. It will become a light, a lesson. Because fear is energy, and energy never dies. It transforms. Fear, when transformed, becomes understanding. Understanding, when deepened, becomes compassion. And compassion, when lived fully, becomes freedom. When a man is free from fear, he becomes unshakable. Not because he has control, but because he no longer needs it. Control is a symptom of fear. Freedom is the fragrance of trust. And trust means you allow life to happen. You don't resist the unknown. You don't demand certainty. You float. You flow. That flow is real courage. Fearless living is not the absence of fear. It is the presence of faith. Faith not in some external God, but faith in life itself, in the intelligence that moves the stars, in the same force that breathes through you right now. When you align with that force, fear disappears naturally. Because now there is no you left to be afraid. Fear is not your enemy. It is only a shadow that appears because you have forgotten the light within yourself. Every human being carries fear, yet very few truly look into it. Most people run from it, hide from it, pretend they are brave, but in their hearts, fear sits quietly and controls their lives. We are not born with fear. We are born with awareness, with freedom. Fear enters when we begin to believe the stories our minds tell. It begins with imagination, with the future, with the unknown. The mind does not fear reality. It fears what it does not understand. It keeps whispering, what if? What if I lose? What if I fail? What if they reject me? What if I die? But look closely. None of these things exist right now. They are thoughts, not truths. In this very moment, right now, are you in danger? No. You are simply breathing, existing, alive. Fear exists only in tomorrow, and tomorrow never comes. It is always now, and in the now, fear cannot survive. You see, fear is not in the world outside. The world outside has challenges, not fears. Fear lives inside the mind. The moment you bring your attention to your breath, to your heartbeat, fear begins to fade. Awareness is like light, and fear lives only in darkness. The more you observe your fear, the weaker it becomes. The more you run from it, the stronger it grows. So stop running. Look directly into your fear. Watch it. Feel it. Let it move through you. And you will see that fear has no substance. It is made of thought. It is made of imagination. The moment you understand this, you are free. Every fear begins with one illusion, the illusion of control. You believe that if you can control everything, nothing will hurt you. You try to control your relationships, your future, your reputation, your success. You want life to go exactly according to your plans. But life does not belong to you. Life has its own flow, its own intelligence. The more you try to control it, the more anxious you become. The need for control is the seed of fear. When you let go, fear disappears. Look at a river. The river does not control its direction. It simply flows. When it meets rocks, it flows around them. When it meets open space, it expands. That is how life works. When you fight the current, you suffer. When you flow with it, you are free. Fear comes from resistance. Peace comes from trust. To live without fear, you must learn to trust life again. Trust does not mean believing that nothing bad will ever happen. Trust means knowing that whatever happens, you will meet it with awareness. You will meet it with strength. You will meet it with love. This is true courage, not the courage to fight life, but the courage to allow it. Let go of control. You are not the master of existence. You are a wave in the ocean of life. The ocean knows where to take you. Let it carry you. Now, let's go even deeper. If fear is the shadow, then the ego is the one holding the light. The ego is the source of fear. It is born from insecurity. It constantly says, I must become someone. I must prove myself. I must be important. The ego lives in comparison. It says, I am better than them or I am worse than them. It keeps measuring, judging, pretending, and behind every comparison, every competition, every ambition, there is fear, the fear of being nobody. The ego cannot survive without fear because fear keeps you separate. It keeps you trapped in the idea of me and mine. It tells you, this is my success, my failure, my name, my identity. But what if you were to let go of all that? Who would you be if there was no label, no title, no story? You would still exist. You would still breathe. You would still be aware. That awareness is your true self, and that self knows no fear. The ego is afraid of disappearing. But when you let it go, you do not vanish, you expand. The small I dies, and the vast being is born. That is what every mystic calls awakening. The ego says, I am the center of the world. Awareness says, I am the sky, and the world moves within me. Fear belongs to the ego. Freedom belongs to awareness. Fear is like a locked room. The ego lives inside, decorating the walls, pretending it is safe. But outside the door, the whole sky is waiting. Step out. Leave the door open. Let the air touch your face. Let life enter. That is how fear ends, not by fighting it, but by walking beyond it. You are not what you think you are. You are not your thoughts, not your fears, not your memories. You are the space in which all of these come and go. And that space cannot be hurt, cannot be broken, cannot be lost. That space is pure silence. That silence is your home. That silence is fearless. So the next time fear arises, don't escape it. Sit with it. Watch it as you would watch a cloud passing through the sky. Do not name it. Do not judge it. Just see it. And slowly you will realize you were never the fear. You were always the witness. The witness cannot be afraid because it does not cling. It does not control. It does not compare. It simply is. To live without fear is to live as awareness itself, fluid, open, and free. Life is not meant to be controlled, it is meant to be experienced. You are not here to win or lose. You are here to awaken. And the moment you awaken, fear dissolves like mist in the morning sun. Let go, flow, trust, because in truth, there was never anything to fear. Fear has always been misunderstood. We try to run away from it, hide it, silence it, and yet it remains. We pretend to be brave, but deep down, fear lingers in our choices, in our relationships, even in our dreams. But what if fear is not your enemy? What if fear is simply misunderstood energy waiting to become strength? When you face fear, don't fight it. Just sit with it. Watch it. Feel it in your body. The trembling, the unease, don't escape it. The moment you stop running, fear begins to transform. Because fear feeds on resistance. It grows when you fight it. It fades when you observe it. You see, fear is not here to destroy you. It's here to wake you up. Every time fear appears, it brings a message. You have forgotten your strength. Fear is life's reminder that you are more than your doubts, more than your limitations. Fear is not the end, it's the beginning of awareness. In silence, look at your fear. Don't label it. Don't say this is bad or this is wrong. Simply look at it as energy. Feel how your chest tightens, how your breath shortens. Just watch. Don't interfere. The watcher, your awareness is far more powerful than fear itself. Fear is like a dark room. The moment you bring in light, the darkness disappears. But we are so used to living in that darkness that we've forgotten how simple the light is. Awareness is that light. You don't need to conquer fear. You only need to understand it. Every fear you have is rooted in attachment. You fear losing what you think you own, your image, your success, your relationships, your body. But can you see how fragile these attachments are? The ego creates fear by saying, I must survive. But life is not about survival. Life is about being alive fully, freely, fearlessly. When you accept fear, it dissolves. When you resist fear, it multiplies. It's like a wave. You can't stop it, but you can learn to ride it. When you become one with it, the wave takes you higher instead of drowning you. Most people live in the illusion of control. They want certainty. They want guarantees. But fear is born from this illusion. The more you try to control life, the more you fear losing it. Freedom begins where control ends. Let go of control. Let go of the idea that life must go your way. Let go of your need to plan every outcome. The moment you trust life, fear has no ground to stand on. Fear cannot survive in the presence of trust. Trust is not blindness. Trust is intelligence. It is the courage to say, I don't know what will happen, but I know I can face it. That simple understanding turns fear into faith, uncertainty into adventure. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of death, they all come from one source. The belief that you are separate from life, but you are not. You are part of existence. The same energy that moves the stars moves your heart. How can you fear something that you already are? Sit quietly and ask yourself, who is afraid? Is it you or is it your mind? The mind is afraid because it wants permanence, it wants safety, it wants control. But life is flow, it's never permanent. Once you realize this, you stop taking fear so seriously. You laugh, and in that laughter, fear loses its power. You start to see fear not as a prison but as a teacher. Every fear shows you where you are not free yet. If you can face it, you can transcend it. Don't try to suppress fear. Don't try to be fearless. Instead, be sincere. Be aware. When fear comes, welcome it like an old friend. Say, come, sit with me, tell me your story, and just listen. You'll notice it doesn't stay long. Fear wants to be heard, not fought. The moment you give it your full attention, it starts to dissolve. Because awareness is the greatest fire. Nothing false can survive in it. Once you have understood fear deeply, you become unshakable. Not because fear disappears, but because it loses control over you. Fear may knock on your door, but it can no longer enter. This is true courage, not the absence of fear, but the presence of awareness. The greatest warriors are not those who never fear. They are those who walk with fear and still move forward. Let this be your new relationship with fear, not as an enemy to kill, but as an energy to understand, as a teacher to listen to, as a doorway to strength. Because every fear, once transformed, becomes freedom. And when you live from that space, nothing can disturb you. You are calm in the storm. You are the stillness behind every wave. In this stillness, life flows naturally. You don't push, you don't control, you simply flow. And in that flow, you discover the greatest power of all, the power of surrender. To live without fear is to live without boundaries. To live without fear is to live in truth. And truth is always free.